Good evening, friends and relatives. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're live here on Yellowbird Traditional Storytelling. We'll give everyone just a minute to log on to join us. And thank you for coming back. Hopefully there is someone out there. And we last week we were not on, and this week we're back. And we're so excited to share with all of you video that was created. Um, so um, of the Fort Robinson Outbreak Spiritual Run, and it's like a mini doc, I guess, is what they call it. So I just want to encourage everyone to share. Let us know where you're joining us from, and if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section. And yeah, so I'm Lynette Tubles, and I've been on, you've been seeing my face for quite some time now. And those, if anyone is new out there, we welcome all of you. I want to also, just greet any young people that may be on that are from our community or other communities. And the Fort Robinson Outbreak Spiritual Run is now in its 25th year. So this coming year in January 2021 is our 25th annual. So we've been doing this for quite some time, and Chief Philip Whiteman will be on after we share the video, and he's going to talk a little bit about the history and talk about why the run was started. And so 25 years of doing this. When we first started with 14 runners, and now this our largest was probably about 130 runners, and then like last year we probably take about 100 people. We've been taking about 100 people down to run 400 miles from Crawford, Fort Robinson, Nebraska, all the way back to Montana. And so we've been doing that for quite some time. And it's so powerful to see the transformation of these young people during this run. And it's so important to give our young people responsibility and to give them purpose. And especially right now, things are really, really tough everywhere. And for our young people to step into that responsibility of carrying the prayer for the people, that's really important. And so we're going to talk, more about that this evening. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us. Want to greet all of the young people out there. Want to greet, it takes a whole group of people to put something like this together for the Fort Robinson Run, and there's a lot of moving parts. So we do this January 8th through the 14th every year. And so the video we're going to be sharing with you was from this past year, this past January. And every year we have a theme. And, it's always about reminding, reconnecting, reclaiming. So all of our work with Yellowbird is really about that, reminding you of what you already know, like this internal knowing and this internal guidance. So you can reconnect to that and you can reclaim it. You can reclaim your sacredness. You can reclaim your connection to land, language, culture, identity. And that's so important for our young people, especially. And our young people, they're our future leaders, and they are leaders today. And so what we do is remind them of that. And so they can step into that responsibility. And we need to constantly do that, collectively. Everyone needs to do that with our young people, continue to give them that responsibility. And when you do that, they step up to that responsibility. And we've seen that, with the Fort Robinson Run. So that is just a little bit of background, but we've been really excited to share this. We've been working on it for quite some time. Wingspan Media has helped us put this together, and we've been holding off for the right time to release it. And so now is that time. So we're excited to share it with all of you. And then after, we're going to have some more discussion. We'll talk a little bit more about it. And then Chief Philip Whiteman will come back on and he'll share a little bit about the history and why we do this run. And then I'll come back and close it out again. But we encourage you, if any of you out there are interested in any of our work and want to support our work, you can do that on yellowbirdlifeways.org. And it will, you'll see all the work that we're doing in our community and the work that we've been doing, for quite some time. And so, we're real honored and humbled to be able to share with you today. So thank you for joining us, and we will get moving with the video. So who are you? What is your name? All youth, all of us need to know who we are, where we come from, and how we're connected to the earth and how we are the earth.
We as Cheyenne people have walked long on this earth. We say that Mahale, the Great Spirit, the Everywhere Spirit, when He gave us life, planted us in this earth. Hitzil, Mahale, Ninanai, here in this place called Earth.
We are spirits having a human experience. The spirit is asking the Creator, am I the earth? Am I the Holy One? Am I the Creator? Ho'e naneheva. Nama ayaneve.
I'm happy that my ancestors broke out from Fort Robertson so I could be here and continue their run and to keep remembering them and the hard work they did just so I can be here, continuing to learn my culture, my language, and how sacred our people are and why we're so important to this land.
One of the things that makes us Cheyenne is our language. And our language knits everything together as Cheyenne people. The culture, the land, the flora and the fauna that grow on the land.
the spirits from the universe, they recognize us through our names, our Cheyenne names, our Lakota names, our young people. It helps them understand that they are spirits having this human experience, that they're resilient, they're loved, and that they're connected to the universe and they're connected to everything.
Sometime along this run, think about where you guys come from. Think of your Indian name, where it came from, where your families are from.
My Cheyenne name is Mavitz, meaning red bird. I was named when I was 5 years old, and my Indian name comes from my grandpa, Sambo Black.
My Cheyenne name is Ojemhe, which means brave woman. It's important for us to have a Cheyenne name because we belong to a group, to a family. My sister's name, Hollywood woman, and we gave that name to one of her great-granddaughters on the run.
My Indian name is Wolsta, and it means little white buffalo calf woman.
My Indian name is Hatawat, which means buffalo. To me, it feels like it makes me strong, like I'm as strong as a buffalo.
We're named after relatives or maybe whatever happened that day.
My Cheyenne name, there's actually a story that comes behind it that takes place here in the Fort Robinson Run. So I'm very proud and honored to carry this name and to carry the meaning that comes with it. It just embodies everything that I'm about. I am a free bird.
To all the kids that doesn't have an Indian name, they should get one because it feels good. And I'm so grateful for mine.
The language transfers our culture, our stories and events were our curricula. That's how we learn to live life. That's how we learn the essences that make us Cheyenne.
I just want to share with you a little bit. My father was a prisoner. So was my grandmother. I know many of you had relatives there. When my father used to tell us stories about how they were treated, how they were chased and shot at,
What's going through my head when I'm running is about how my ancestors suffered trying to get us to freedom and how I want to be like them.
he used to always tell us, you don't know what fear is. Fear is being chased like an animal. At that time, I didn't understand. It took me like 50 years to understand it. And I know some of you, you'll be able to take some of this stuff home that you heard, the stuff that you learned, what people said, what they shared with you. I want you to think about it and make some good choices in your life.
When Philip said it's when you break out of your barracks in your mind, that's when I realized I had been released from my shackles and I just felt free for the first time in my life. Like, I'm done surviving. I'm starting to live now. For the first time in 16 years, I feel like I could be consistently happy and feel good now.
Stop. You're saying to yourself, I can do this. I can keep running. I'm Cheyenne. Stop. And that means I have a strong heart.
I really like this run because I'm around positive people and I learned how to move on from my grief. When I lost my mother, I would just stay in the past and I always look back. And when I started coming on this run, I realized my life isn't that bad as our ancestors were. We all have the same struggles on this run, and everybody else around me on this run talked to me and helped me go through it. I like being around people who understand my problems, and I like knowing that I'm not alone.
With my people, surrounded by prayer, surrounded by my family. These people are my family.
My grandma brought me on this run when I was like 6 months old, and she died in August. She's the one that kept me strong all my life. I feel like she's running with me. I feel like she's watching over me. I feel like she's keeping me warm, keeping me happy, keeping me strong.
You are our future. Your ancestors are proud of you. When I see you running by, it just makes my heart swell up, and I am so proud of you.
I'm thinking about my ancestors and staying strong for them, run for the ones that couldn't make it back.
While I'm running, I think about making my family proud. When I got to hold the flag, I feel like my ancestors were running with me.
They broke out for freedom for us.
What we're doing, it comes from spirit.
the Fort Robinson Run, it reconnects them to language, land, culture, identity. Our young people, they learn to center themselves. They have to learn to come together as a team collectively in unity to make it home. They learn whatever comes their way, they can handle it. We're reminding them, reconnecting them so they can reclaim who they are.
Our Cheyenne, beloved children, they have this connection, a spiritual connection to this earth, this whole, in a dynamic, interdependent universe in which they are related to all life.
Our kids need to know who they are, where they come from, what they're made of, and how powerful they are. And through their names, they have that strong connection to the earth, to the universe, to everything.
We live for our children. And this run is just one aspect of how we love our children and how significant they are to us culturally. They are our monumental human treasures. They represent the hope and the dreams of the people today.
Ma'aka Danewasans Hinemia. It's used after a prayer, after the pipe, after the tobacco, after the ceremony is complete. That song is used to send the message with the badger, along with the prayers to the Creator.
Well, I hope all of you liked that video. And gosh, I just get choked up watching it all over again. Today, I have my Fort Robinson Run t-shirt on from last year. And, you know, it's the run is so powerful. It's really hard to describe. I hope the video, you got the feeling from the video, because it's really hard to describe it unless you experience it. And it's like this spirit that's with us, and this spirit of resilience, and this spirit of strength. And it's a prayer. You know, the run is a prayer. And it's important for our people to continue to heal. And all of these stories really are the same. There's Fort Robinson, there's Sand Creek, there's Wounded Knee, Dakota 38. There's like every tribal nation, every one of our nations, we all experience something like this, you know. And so the stories, they might be a little bit different. They might have taken place in a different location, but it happened to us. And, you know, despite all of that, we're still here. And it's because of the connection to our way of life and our spirituality and our prayers and our connection to the universe and each other that we're still here. And so it's important, I believe, that we continue to teach these things to our young people, not to keep them in trauma, but to help them heal from that. In order to do that, they have to understand. And when they learn of what happened to their ancestors, you know, it gives them a greater appreciation for life, for their own life. It gives them a greater appreciation for land, their homeland, and their connection to the land. And so, you know, we wanted to just share this with all of you. And this, you know, again, as I mentioned, this is our 25th annual Fort Robinson Outbreak Spiritual Run. And from 14 runners to, you know, 100 runners, and now we're going to be real small again. You know, it's important that we continue to do this and pray for the people, pray for healing, pray for wellness, and pray for our young people. as I said before, our young people, they need purpose and responsibility, and they need to step up into that. They need to step up into that responsibility. So I just want to I want to turn this over to Philip, because he's going to share a little bit more of the history and how we started, and why, this year the title of this video is Who Am I? What is my name? Or who are you? What is your name? And why that's so important, our connection to our names, our traditional names. And so this past year, there was a number of kids that didn't have traditional names. And so while we were on the run, when we were there on our day of education at Fort Robinson, our elders gave the youth their traditional names, and it was just so powerful to hear, how it made them feel and the connection that they felt. And so our names are really important. That's how the spirits, that's how, they recognize us, as through our names and our ancestors. So I'm going to ask Philip to come up and to or come on and to share, a little bit about the history, and share with all of you. And so, okay, so I'm going to just turn it over to him, and I'll be back on again to close it out.
Thank you, Lynette, and thank you for everyone that is watching tonight, or whenever you watch this Facebook, this message that we're sharing tonight. I was I didn't know that I was going to be on tonight, and I was down there working with my horses, and I like working with young horses in the evening as it's starting to get dark. Their natural senses start to heighten. They less like they come alive, and then I kind of stopped. I kind of get lost in what I'm doing, and I looked, and there was the moon. It's like a crescent moon, and well, we always call it peyote moon, and it reminds me of prayer, ceremony, connecting to earth, fire, medicine, a way of life, nature, listening to your thoughts, and connecting whole higher level. And I just want to share a little bit. I don't want to do a testimony or confess or anything like that, but I went to treatment 4 different times, and in Muscausen, it was like a traditional. We sang, and it was a different kind of approach. And then I went to another one. That was kind of almost like a military one. And then my 4th one, I stayed there for about almost 8.5 months, 9 months. And I see people come and go. There was lawyers and doctors and nurses and nuns and priests, and I mean, the treatment center, it opened itself to everybody. So I got to sit back and watch and observe and learn. And, alcoholism, it doesn't discriminate. And when I come home, I was there almost about 9 months. I wanted to do something different. And we all experience rejection or setback or death. And at that moment there, young people, it creates and it enhances their awareness. And when we're not there to role model, like turn it into a redirection, setback, and we're not there to turn rejection into a redirection, and we're not there when they're tap into their like a higher level of consciousness. Well, our environment, we start to adjust to it, and pretty soon we become our environment. And our environment, statistics are real high. And after the breakout at Fort Robinson, they placed our people at Fort Kill in Mouse City. And it was like a prison colony. And then they brought us here after that, Congressional Act, the Ton River Agency it's called. But when you're stripped of identity, culture, language, well, it's a genocide. And like I'm about 3 generations off when my parents, grandparents, great-grandparents were nomadic. And they were chiefs, they were warriors, they were spiritual people that could talk to the storms and the tornado, the fire. And now we're going through I always call it the numb and dumb down process, where we forget who we are and we're talking different language. And I got to travel the world a little bit. And I went to Washington. I went to where they keep artifacts. Cheyenne people, Indian people, indigenous people from all over the world, their history's there. And I even went out to Seattle. And I heard a song there. Must have been hundreds of years. When my father, he was alive, a chief, when they got back some of those songs from the Smithsonian, some of the documentation that my grandparents shared with George Burke Grinnell and Father Peter Powell. They wanted to preserve and somehow, some way, the language, culture, identity, and we are I don't want to say sacred. I don't want to use word like holy, but Creator took pity on us. And not just with one teacher, but with two teachers, I read Corns and Sweet Medicine. And that Sweet Medicine, his story is real close to, there's a universal story where a boy was born, virgin mother. And he came with good news. He came with a message that we couldn't be religious and use prehistoric survival skills. We couldn't use territorialism. We couldn't use eminent domain or dominion. He called it salvation. The freedom of all of that. So I'm sitting on the side hill at Bear Buttes, along with my brother, LaForce Lone Bear, Lee Lone Bear. I woke up in the middle of the day and I started talking to him. He was a councilman and he wanted something better for his people. And so I shared with him what my dream was. What can we do to tap back into this higher level of consciousness? I don't want to use the word awaken. I don't want to use the word it's overused. But to reconnect to ourselves and the different doctors. Like I got one over there, I communicate with him almost every day. His name's Dr. Roy Shelton. It's out of Michigan. He's a scientist, teacher. Then I have another friend, his name is Dr. Mike Yannick. He was second in command in IHS. He's got private business over there in California now. He works with veterans with trauma. And then there's others also too. And then I met a lady, her name was Naomi Kine, and she wrote a book called The Shock Doctor. And this run, when we started out, even some of my own relatives, they make fun of me. What kind of holy thing are you doing? They didn't understand. And when we decided to run the 400 miles from Fort Robinson, for 3 years we ran on the communities here on the reservation. And so I told Lynette, wow, I think we can do it. I like to go down there and finish the track with some of those that left Oklahoma. They wanted to come home. You know, there was sickness after the battle of the Little Bighorn. Our people wilted from 15,000 to just a few hundred. And they knew that they had to do something. They couldn't just all die there. And that was the plan. That was the government's plan to exterminate us. And our people, they had sense. They wanted to come home. And they're looking at sickness. They're looking at starvation. They're looking at, wow, Calvary Day. They told our people if they break the law, they're going to hang them and kill them and shoot them. And so they're thinking about all of that. But something inside them, they asked, who are we? Who are we? And once they understood who they were and what they were connected to and where they were from, not of this earth, but astrology, our creator. Well, they broke out and left middle of the night and September 9th in Alrena, Oklahoma. I was listening to Preacher the other day, and he's talking about how there's a Judith in every group. Well, I guess those Cheyennes, when they left in the middle of the night, I guess one of Lilywolf's relatives went back, or Dawn Knife, one of them, went back and told that Indian agent where they're at and what direction they were going. But there was a little girl on this video, her granddaughter, Marie Sanchez. She's a granddaughter, that lady that would seek vision, dreams. She would see, and she would tell the leaders which direction to go. One time they were almost soldiers rode right up on them and rode right on by them because they covered themselves. Some said they turned into buffalo. Some say they turned into rock. And they came all the way back because they wanted to come home. And then here we are, for a generation of institutionalism. And the statistics are still real high, not just with alcohol, but with drugs and other things. And we're all guilty of it. Not to get stuck in the trauma, but to reclaim and go back and visit that higher consciousness, that awareness, where change and miracles happen, where language, where you start talking to your thoughts instead of your thoughts talking to you. When we first ran that 400 miles, the first 3 days were real tough. All we wanted to do was to run home for those, our ancestors. But when the body starts to ache, when the ego starts to get uncomfortable, and when arrogance and control, all of the other stuff starts to arise, sometimes things can get real tough when you get stuck in that. And that's an opportunity to turn rejection into redirection, setback into reset. But when that awareness comes, that higher level of consciousness, here at home, we get caught in the statistics in the environment. Then we forget who we are. Loss of language, culture, identity. And that's why names are real important. They connect us to the stars. They connect us to the spirits that sit and dwell in those 4 directions and up in the sky, middle and underneath. It keeps that higher level of consciousness alive. And that's what you call resilience. We're spirits. There's a song that came back from the Smithsonian, and in the words in it, there's Namahayana. I'm a creator. I'm a co-creator. Am I the earth? There's questions in that song like, am I the one? It's a spirit having a human experience. And it's communicating with itself because it's connected to a higher power. Our prophet, sweet medicine, said, Mihadats, love each other. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, respect each other. Chiefs, listen so you can be heard, understand so you can be understood. Better to be kind and right. Those are all higher level of consciousness and awareness and thinking that's still in our culture and our identity. And it's good to be smart and it's good to be educated. Because what little I know, I know there's a lot of other people out there that are probably smarter than me. But what I do know, I want to share it with you guys. I want to share it with the children, just the way it was shared with me. And I know that because I'm human, because I get questioned, but that's what I was taught. And I still believe that we're a creator, we're a co-creator. I still believe that dreams can come true, miracles can happen, and that there's no death. I still believe in all those crazy stories that my grandmother and grandfather, my parents shared with me. It sharpens my imagination, my spiritual understanding of who I am. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I've been sober a while now. And the more I learn, the more I awake, the more I get connected, I come to realize that I don't know everything. This opportunity here right now, we need to have gratitude. This human experience, it's an opportunity and a blessing. Nothing lasts forever. Only the rock will remain. Those are some of the songs that are in our culture. Be good to each other. Overlook stuff. Meodats, Shivatamat, Shivatstas, Nuedisayodata. Those are some of the teachings that we share with the runners that come. Now, I don't know if I make an impact on people, but by sharing this, I know it made an impact on me. I get to work with my horses in the evening because that's when they come in and heighten their awareness. And it challenges me to tap back into that, to see the miracle, to see the love, to see the life and the blessing and everything. I hope you enjoyed that video, and maybe I might have got too emotional, but right now, what our people are going through here well, not at home here, but around Indian country and around the world, a lot of mourning and grieving, and there's like a shock that's happening, and our youth need leaders. And right now, intelligence, being smart, it has its limitations. But I think wisdom and love, mercy, compassion, those are unlimited. I just want to thank you guys for listening. I'm going to go ahead and turn things back over to Lynette.
Thank you, Philip, for sharing a little bit of history and sharing some wisdom with all of us and with all of you. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. Tomorrow, we're going to be releasing just the video. So I encourage everybody to share the video and get that out there and, spread the word about the journey of these kids, what they've done. And like I said, that video is what we filmed this past January. And, who am I? What is my name? I think that is something that we should all ask ourselves, every one of us. Who am I? What is my name? Who am I connected to? We're taught like our family history, how a lot of us, we can go back to, the 1800s, early 1800s, who our ancestors are and who we come from and what chiefs we come from. And, so we're taught these things. That information is really important because it connects us to, that spirit of our ancestors. And so, yeah, so this run, we've been doing it for 25 years. And these kids, they break out, like one of the kids said in the video, we're breaking out of the barracks in our minds. And that's literally what they're doing. We have self-imposed barracks too that we need to break out, that we keep ourselves, in that box. And there is no box, where so they broke out for freedom. That's what another little girl said in the video. We're running for freedom. Our ancestors broke out for freedom, and we're still struggling for that today. And so, it's really important. So I just want to thank everybody and thank, all of our youth. And I want to encourage all of the youth right now because I know right now is a real difficult time for our young people, and they are really struggling. And we wanted to share this at this time to encourage them. It doesn't matter where you're from. You might be from other nations, other states. We all need encouragement, and especially our youth. So we wanted to encourage them, and we want to thank all of the youth from the Fort Robinson Run. After doing this for 25 years, we see young people that are now adults and have their own children, and the impact that it's made and on all of their lives. And so we just want to thank you for watching and joining us tonight, and watch for the video tomorrow. We'll be sharing that, and we encourage you to share it too. And if at all possible, any of you out there feel compelled, to support our work, we welcome that as well. We want to continue to bring you stories. We want to continue to, address food sovereignty and food security and youth leadership and youth empowerment and wellness for our community and our families, and to be able to share a lot of this virtually as well with all of you, I think is really important because I know what one affects all. We're all connected in the circle of life. So thank you for joining us and have a good evening. And yeah, just have a beautiful evening. Thank you again. We'll see you back next week.